Rob, just a couple of days out from the seasonal opener, and what's your thoughts ahead of it all?
Oh, I don't know really. It's a weird time of year really, in that, you know, a week ago you're feeling really good, Nick, and you think everything's about ready to go and you can't wait for the game, and then it comes around, it's a couple of days away and you start wondering if everything's in place. But the truth is, players have been really good. They've trained very hard, they've been very diligent about what they've done, really good at taking on any new stuff that we've introduced, and the reality is we should really be looking forward to the game, because we're ready to play some really competitive rugby, and in a lot of ways we're lucky. We're going to the Recoh, which is a great place to play, and we're playing against a good side, and we probably know already it's going to be very tough but very good game of rugby.
You've talked about the division strengthening even more this year, a lot of new players coming in.
Yeah.
Not a huge amount here, but the continuity is a big thing for you, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the important thing. I mean, we shouldn't be looking to have too much change. You know, if you finish runners up in the Premiership by 8 points, as I've said before, you know, you look at what Saracens have done when they've lost, you know, in semi-finals, or they've lost in finals. They certainly haven't been a team that have suddenly kind of panicked and thought they have to change masses. What they do decide to do is get very good at their base qualities and look to bring in players who can add to the quality of what they've got there, and they work very hard on the retention of their top players, and I think that's a bit of a lesson for us as well. You know, we've lost the final, but there's two important things you do. You don't overreact, you don't underreact. So we haven't come into this season thinking everything's going to be great, because we got to a final, but at the same time we also realise that if we work hard at what got us to that final, and we work hard on the qualities that kept us at the top of the league, then, you know, we give ourselves a great chance to kind of get back there again.
As you know, Wasps inside out, you know what's going to come at you, but they're going to have new things, and so are you.
That's right. I mean, it's easy to say we know each other very well, but things do change, and as personnel change, and you tinker with little things, and you know, and both of us will probably want to adapt our game against each other a little bit as well. I think it's going to be very exciting. You know, first games of the season can be a little bit edgy to start with, and obviously, you know, your referees are getting back into refereeing as well, and you know, the whole thing just needs to build a bit of pace. But you know, if there are two teams that are going to produce a very interesting game of rugby, you know, history shows it would be us and Wasps. So you know, I think it'd be a tremendous fixture. Like I say, the Reco's a great place to play. You know, I know Di's very ambitious about what he wants the club to achieve, and as I said, you know, it's going to be a great challenge, but that's kind of what being in the Premiership is all about nowadays.
On paper, you look at the start and it's a tough start, but at the same time, if you win those games, you've already got a head start.
Yeah, well, it's a bit like when you look at the league and you see yourself on 0 points. You know, you can look at it and go, geez, this is going to be hard to get enough points to be to where you want to be, but at the same time everyone else is on 0 as well, and that creates a fantastic opportunity, and I think that's what our first 2 games are, the same. You know, if we get a good amount of points from them, we can say we've got out the blocks really well. If we don't do so well, you know, hopefully it's not an out indication of where we stand against some strong sides, but it does make you have to sit back and really get stuck in and to the rest of the season.
You've had 3 fantastic tests in the pre-season, and last week you said in particular you were a little critical of the first quarter of the game up at Newport. Is that something you've addressed this week and talked to the guys about?
Yeah, I mean, the truth is it was a different scenario for us. I mean, we would never travel that far on the day normally. And we obviously never take that bigger squad in the bus and then into a small changing room, and you know, there were some distractions that we kind of let happen that wouldn't happen on a Premiership weekend, and I thought we just lacked a little bit of intensity at the start, but sometimes that's a good kick up the pants to make sure that, you know, you hit the field in the right frame of mind, because you don't want to be taking a 7-point lead because you throw a ball on a 7 point deficit because you throw a ball on the floor like we did in that first opening period. You know, that kind of hurts you. That said, after that, you know, we conceded another 9 points in the rest of the game in another 70 minutes. So that bodes very well for us. You know, our desire to fight and defend and work very hard is there in spades, and ultimately that's what saw us home to quite a comfortable victory last week. You know, we certainly outlasted Dragons' intensity and came through with our own, and that's what we've got to make sure happens this weekend.
1 or 2 missing Jack Noel debuts this weekend, but overall when you look at the squad, there's phenomenal talent there, and a lot of headaches I'd imagine this week.
Yeah, yes and no. You know, I think as a coaching team, and we say the same to players, you know, we believe what we see with our own eyes, and if you train with the top quality and you play with the top quality, then you'll get selected, and it's a pretty simple equation for me. That's how we base most things, especially here at the start of the season. You know, we're aware that as the season goes on, you do need to be prepared to rest and rotate a little bit and try and bring players through into form. But at this stage, you know, we're very comfortable with the group that are going to go to Wasps, because they're the guys who've other than our bumps and bruises, they're the guys who performed at the highest level in training and in those pre-season games.
Finally, from me, what lessons did you learn from last year, Rob? You've got so close, but what lessons did you ultimately learn?
Well, I think the biggest lesson we learned was actually just in the final. Through the course of the season, we got most things right. We were very consistent in our performances, which was a big improvement for us. We picked up points in every game bar one through the course of the season, and I think that consistency, particularly against teams away from home that I think have been almost like banana skins for us in the past, we dealt with those. We didn't have any particularly big wins away from home, but we were very, very consistent at home, and I think that gives you the foundation for a good season. And I think from that we kind of progressed at the end of the year, and we learned a few lessons in the final, but those are for us to deal with when we get to another big game, and we've got to work very hard to get there. The lessons of that day mean nothing if we don't get back to the consistency and the quality that we showed week in, week out last year.